This is the NCAA Women's Gymnastics Championships. This is for the bowl.
She is that girl. It's Jordan Childs. There's always Kaylin Geo time.
For the fearless. For the phenomenal.
The moment belongs to Oklahoma.
The NCAA Gymnastics Championships on ESPN.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
You can't put a team built with freshmen as favorites anymore. AJ Demansa, awesome for the pros, awesome for BYU, not championship contender. Darren Peterson, awesome for the pros, was awesome at times for Kansas, not a championship contender. If I tell you, and I don't know who the players are yet, all of these great freshmen are going to Duke, don't you just assume that's great for the pros and not for college?
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is Freddie and Harry.
He had an opportunity to win a championship back in 2023 with the Denver Nuggets, coaching the best player in the world, Nikola Jokic. Now, anybody who has that on their resume, I would love to hire. So I would say for North Carolina, you got you one. And the part I love the most about Michael Malone, he's not scared to challenge his players.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Exactly, Stephen A. He's been here for 10 years, and we're still trying to figure him out. The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Monday, the Justin Kenner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We got Reds, we got Buckeyes, we got Browns, we got Bengals. We have it all for you right here on a Monday. A lot to get into. Of course, the Masters wrapped up over the weekend. We'll talk a little golf coming up here shortly as well. The Cincinnati Reds, I mean, we are sitting here. It is April 13th, and the Reds have already made a major roster move. We'll get to that shortly coming up around the corner. The Ohio State spring game, again, 1410 ESPN Radio, Dayton's radio home for Reds baseball, but also for Ohio State football and basketball. And we have Ohio State football coming up this weekend, kind of. Spring game. The spring game. When you hear that the spring game is coming up this weekend, how does that make you feel? Does that make you all feel all warm and fuzzy inside? I'm so conflicted on how to feel about a spring game. And here's why. Look, we are 1410 ESPN Radio. We are an Ohio State, radio affiliate, which means anything Ohio State, we're supposed to hype up. And we're supposed to make it sound like it's the biggest thing in the world, right? That's not hard to do for Ohio State football. It's sometimes hard to do for Ohio State basketball, of course. But I'm finding it very challenging for me to do this thing with you guys every year where I pretend that the spring game is this massive deal. Here's why I enjoy the spring game. Here's a few reasons why I, Justin Kenner, enjoy the spring game. If you, for instance, I don't have kids, but I know a lot of my friends do, and their families are getting bigger, and I do know that the cost of Buckeye tickets, that number is getting bigger. It's tough to take your family to a Buckeye game during the season at a cost-friendly pace, right? So if you want to enjoy a Ohio State football game at the Shoe, you could do it for very, very cheap. So I like it from that perspective. It's a marketing thing more than anything else. Now, one tiny part of me believes that there is any position battle that is going to be solved this Saturday. I mean, come on. Tune into the spring game. It's a great position battle at the running back position, at the defensive back position, at the tackle position. It's not. It's not. I remember years and years ago, and this is how I know I'm getting older, because I feel like the Dwayne Haskins, Joe Burrow QB battle from a few years ago. See, I still say it. A few years ago, that was way more than a few years ago. I mean, Joe Burrow is entering year 7 in the NFL. All right. Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow, that was more than a few years ago, their QB battle. But I remember that spring game because the way it was being positioned and hyped up was, oh my gosh, this spring game. There's going to be a lot of eyes on both QBs at the spring game this weekend as Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow battle it out. They ain't battling nothing out. Joe Burrow already knew he was leaving. Dwayne Haskins already knew he had the job wrapped up. Urban Meyer knew that Dwayne Haskins had the job wrapped up, and this was all just a dog and pony show for the fans, which that's all this is, and that is totally fine. In fact, you can argue that the practices leading into the spring game are way more intense, and probably you would get way more of your money's worth if you got to watch an actual live practice versus watching there's flag football soft, and then there's whatever the hell the spring game is going to be soft. And that's okay. I don't want my guys getting hurt in a meaningless exhibition game in April. That's where we're at. So the spring game is this weekend. Here's another reason I like it. If you watch the game, you're watching football, you're seeing football take place at the shoe. We're all football-aholics around here. We love it. We can't wait. I can't wait, I guess. It's just, I'm not going to do the thing where I try to, fluff it up for you. I think if you're really, really into it, great. I'm not judging you. I don't get super hyped for the spring game. I just don't want my guys to get hurt. All right. I don't believe any position battle has truly been figured out. I don't think we're going to crack the mic a week from today and say, I can't believe the decision to go for it on 4th and 2 in the fourth quarter of that spring game over the weekend. I mean, Team Scarlet got screwed. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, come on, So Adam Seltner, what up, Adam? Adam says the spring game is the equivalent of the scripted training camp practice for the NFL. And I will say, I like if you're talking about the scripted training camp practice for the NFL, yeah, to me, I kind of want to see where I would love to see the evolution of the spring games take place is combined spring, do a spring game scrimmage, a spring game exhibition between, and I'm just throwing out random, like whether it is Cincinnati and Ohio State. What if Cincinnati and Ohio State, their spring practices all kind of culminated in a Ohio State versus UC spring game? Means the results mean nothing. Literally nothing's happened. Like, you know what I mean? You at least kind of combined some fan bases. You can kind of mix it up a bit. Have a little fun with it, as far as I'm concerned. You're talking about those inter-game scrimmages. What I like in the NFL, I love when the joint practices. I love when the Bengals and Rams joint practices kind of got a little bit out of hand. But like the joint practices, those are more intense. The competition level goes up because you're going to kind of screw around a little bit if it's your offense going up against your defense. You're not trying to hurt one another. Not that you're trying to hurt the opposing team, but I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive on my end because if I hurt you, I'm not trying to hurt you, but if I hurt you, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, it's not impacting my team. I'm trying to, show off to the coaches here. I would love to see. I think these spring games are boring. I'm not going to lie. I don't care. We're supposed to fluff it up. I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I'm here to give you my opinion on it. I think spring games are kind of silly. But at the same time, if my buddies ask me to go, and I've done that, I've gone in the past, I have a great time. You're sitting in the shoe. You're watching football activities take place. Beautiful spring, weather. It's great. It's solid. But from a sports talk perspective, I am not going to crack this mic and try to convince you that, oh man, it all comes down to this on Saturday. A lot of starting jobs on the line. Ryan Day is going to lose sleep the night before because he's trying to figure it out. Who's going to win the starting running back battle? I mean, come on. We don't have to do that. But like I said, what I would really love to see when it comes to these spring games, Ohio State, they have all their spring practices, build it up, and Ohio State should welcome in an opposing team to come in and have their spring game scrimmage against. And make it for charity. Do something, but do whatever you need to. But just kind of, spruce it up a bit. Make it pop a little bit. I'm not. I heard some coworkers talking about the spring game a little bit ago, and I couldn't join because I'm not into it. I'm a big Ohio State fan. I love the Buckeyes. Don't get me wrong, but it's for me. The spring game just doesn't do anything for me. Adam, what up, Adam? Adam says, a joint practice would be pretty cool. I think a joint practice, a joint, spring game, something. I said UC, it could be Bowling Green. Ryan Day could call up Eddie George right now and say, hey, why don't we, it's great for Bowling Green, right? Bowling Green and Ohio State, they'll scrimmage one another in a spring game exhibition. And it's not tackle. It's as useless as what an inter-squad spring game is. It could just be jointly, useless going up against one another. But you know what I mean? Like, I think that would kind of make it, pop a little bit. The Red Hawks, Miami of Ohio, get them over to Columbus and do a joint practice with them, a joint spring game with them. Something just to kind of mix it up a little bit as far as that goes. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Ryan Day did a podcast recently over the weekend, and he did something and said something that finally I can get on board with him. You guys know my take on this, that when it comes to the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, okay, it is a rivalry. It means everything. It is a ton. Like, it's a big deal. It is the biggest rivalry in sports. But I don't think that in any sport ever, no matter how big a rivalry is, I never think that it should trump what your ultimate goal is, which is a national championship. And for years now, I've been super frustrated listening to Ryan Day talk because deep down, I believe he hates losing to Michigan, but I don't think that he approaches the Michigan game the way that y'all want him to. Like, y'all want to be told that it is the biggest game of all games. You want to be told that nothing else matters except that game. You want to be told that it's about the Michigan game and it doesn't matter what else happens. You want to be told that. And Ryan Day knows that. So Ryan Day serves you lip service and just tells you what you want to hear. But deep down, I think the one reason that he has always struggled in that rivalry is because I think he says the right things. I don't think he approaches it the right way. I don't think he truly believes that that game is an end-all be-all. It has developed into that for him personally because that was the one monkey that he just could not get off his back. I mean, he won a national championship before he finally got a definitive win against that team up north. Now, I know he had one back when, in the late 2010s when he first took over for Urban Meyer, but, to lose 4 straight and to have all the success and all the NFL talent that he did and did not have anything to show for it in the rivalry game. A lot of you said, I don't care that he won a national championship. I don't care who he has beaten. If he doesn't beat Michigan this year, I want him gone. I always thought that was kind of silly, kind of stupid. We know the history of this rivalry. If it used to be, if you don't beat Ohio State or you don't beat Michigan, you are not going to ultimately accomplish your goal of winning a Big Ten title and winning a national championship. To get to where you ultimately wanted to go, you literally had to run through one another. That is no longer the case. Ohio State proved that because during the stretch of losing to Michigan for 4 straight years, they had 2 opportunities to win a national championship. And I think it was about 2 years ago, Ryan Day had come out and he was asked about, which losses throughout your head coaching career keep you up at night? Which is which game or games are the ones that haunt you more than anything else? And Ryan Day just came out feeding you the lip service and saying, oh, all the losses to Michigan keep me up at night. I cannot sleep at night. It's the Michigan losses. I just can't handle those. Like, those are the ones that really get me. And I'm like, I know those losses sting. It leads to a lot of backlash. It leads to a lot of controversy. But I promise you, you lost that game. It came with a lot of criticism. But ultimately, what did you lose? Because you didn't lose out on an opportunity to compete for a national championship. In fact, if anything, you won a national championship while losing to Michigan for the 3rd straight year. And 2 years before that, you had a chance, had you just gotten one stop against Georgia, had you made that kick at the end of regulation, had the targeting call been actually made on Marvin Harrison Jr., had any of those things happen, Ohio State is the one bludgeoning TCU in the national championship as opposed to that cheating team up north. And I said this, you guys remember, I did this segment 2 years ago. I said, it pissed me off when I heard Ryan Day say that it was the Michigan losses that keep him up at night. I said, no. The game that should keep you up at night amongst all the games during Ryan Day's tenure as head coach at Ohio State, it has to be that Georgia game. Because Ohio State, after losing to Michigan for the 2nd straight year, was a kick away from beating Georgia. And had you beaten Georgia, you would be the one bludgeoning TCU, and that would have been a national championship. So technically, Ohio State would have been a 2-time national champion during that 4-game losing streak to Michigan. Not that that's anything to brag about, but it proves my point. And even with the one national championship, that beating Michigan, yes, you want to do it. It's a big check mark on a lot of boxes of the to-dos, but it is not the number one box at the top of the priority list. It has to be about national championships. Last year, it was a great year for Ohio State. Undefeated regular season after replacing so many guys in the NFL on both sides of the ball, but especially offense, bringing in a new quarterback, new running backs, so many key positions, right? New defensive coordinator, all of that. Great season, 12-0. You lose to Indiana in a close one in Indianapolis in the Big Ten championship. And then, of course, it was a one and done come playoff time when you got ousted there. So the bottom line is I look at Ohio State right now and I'm thinking, when they lose to Miami, by the way, and I'm like, that was a failure of a season. I don't care that you went undefeated. I don't care all the stuff that you overcame. I don't care about, it was a failure of a season. You beat Michigan. You were undefeated. You beat Michigan. You got to the Big Ten championship. You made it to the playoff. It was a failure of a season, even with beating Michigan. It was a failure of a season because you didn't advance to the playoff. You didn't get to the semifinals. You didn't even get to the finals. You didn't win a national championship. To me, that is a failure of a season. Losing to Michigan is not a failure of a season. It's just a failure of you didn't beat your rival. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Ryan Day did a podcast over the weekend and was asked about what losses keep you up at night. 2 years ago, he's a liar because 2 years ago, he lied 2 years ago. He told the truth today. I told you before, I don't think Ryan Day hates Michigan. I just don't think that he truly believes that it is the end-all be-all. And I think he feeds you a lot of lip service. Ryan Day is too smart to sit there and say that, yeah, losing chances to win a national championship, that's not that big a deal, but losing to Michigan, that's a huge deal. Ryan Day finally gets it. Ryan Day was asked about which losses keep you up at night. He didn't just give one, he gave two, and neither of these two are any of those 4 Michigan losses that he lost 4 straight to. Take a listen. Here's Ryan Day on the 2 losses throughout his head coaching career that keep him up at night.
The 19 Clemson game. Yep. That one, and then obviously the Peach Bowl against Georgia. Those 2 games to this day. You remember the losses. You know what I mean? The win kind of just come and go in their relief, but those losses haunt you. And because I felt like both of those teams were good teams, and if we were able to move on to the next game, we would have been playing LSU in Joe Burrow, which would have been just a monster game, which would have been great. And then the other year we've been playing TCU. So
yeah, not just that Peach Bowl game against Georgia, which again, you get one more stop. I mean, it was a shootout. The defense for Ohio State was atrocious that year. We know that. That's what ultimately led to them making a change, defensive coordinator, and they go out and you get Jim Knowles, and ultimately you go on to win the national championship 2 years later with that said defensive coordinator before he ultimately leaves for the Penn State job. But you get one more stop. You make that field goal at the end. That targeting call gets called, and it totally changes the dynamic of that game, right? Like they needed one more thing to go their way. That loss should keep Ryan Day up at night because I guarantee you they beat TCU. I guarantee you that they bludgeoned them the way that Georgia bludgeoned them. And it's just one of those where I'm just like that to me, when I heard Ryan Day say 2 years ago that it was the Michigan losses that kept him up at night, I'm like, how can you say that? Any of those losses to Michigan never prevented you from winning a national championship. The loss against Georgia did. The loss against Clemson in 19. Now, I'm not as forgiving. Like that loss against Clemson in 19 in the Fiesta Bowl, that's, of course, when, Clemson defeated Ohio State 29-23. And if you remember, like that stretch, like Ohio State, they left a lot of points on the board because they were marching up and down the field, but they kept settling for field goals. They just couldn't punch it in to the end zone. And then, of course, the controversial call, that crucial targeting penalty on Shaun Wade. And then, of course, that game-winning 94-yard drive by Trevor Lawrence. That loss, I'm sure, stings to him, but like that loss, I was way more critical of Ohio State on than the Georgia game, just because I thought that they should have beat Georgia. It's not that I didn't think they should have beat Clemson. I just think that Clemson, that they were the better team that night. I mean, Clemson, you go on a 94-yard game-winning drive by a superstar quarterback in obviously Trevor Lawrence. At one point, you let them march down the field 94 yards. You also let them go on like a 17-0 run. And, it was just one of those, you had so many opportunities in the red zone and you settled for field goals and you allowed Clemson to creep back into it. I thought Ohio State deserved to lose that game against Clemson. I was in the minority on that because a lot of you were so caught, you were so caught up on that penalty, that Shaun Wade penalty, that you guys were just kind of forgetting the point that Ohio State, that, the Shaun Wade penalty had nothing to do with the 94-yard drive by Trevor Lawrence. It had nothing to do with the offense not able to get points up late, early in the game, or at least, settling for field goals early in the game after marching into the red zone at ease 4 straight possessions. Like those are the things that frustrated me about that game that I remember arguing with you guys so much about. So, I look back at that, and I'm like, whatever. But at least Ryan Day gets it. Ryan Day finally gets it. He no longer has to give you lip service. He no longer has to pretend that the Michigan rivalry is the end-all be-all. He doesn't have to say, oh, man, Ryan, Coach Day, what are the losses that keep you up at night? Any loss to Michigan keeps me up at night. No, he finally beat Michigan last year, and now he could stop feeding you that lip service, and he could just say, hey, that damn Georgia game, dude. We beat Georgia. We go on to beat TCU and blow them out in the national championship game. Because he knows that season they left a national championship on the table. And it wasn't because they lost to Michigan. It's because they couldn't get one more stop. It's because they couldn't make a field goal. It's because that targeting call against Marvin. You see what I mean? Like, that's why they didn't win it. They lost to Michigan. They would have won a national championship that year had one more thing gone right against Georgia. 2 years ago, they beat, obviously Oregon in the Rose Bowl. They beat Tennessee at home. They, blow out Oregon in the Rose Bowl. They beat Texas in that instant classic. And then they, of course, take care of Notre Dame in the national championship game. They did all of that while losing to Michigan. Beating Michigan is important. It's right up there at the top of the priority list, but it is not the number one thing on the priority list. It's all about national championships, and Ryan Day finally gets it, and he doesn't have to lie to you guys anymore. He doesn't have to pretend that that's the end-all be-all, because he got that monkey off his back, and now it's full steam ahead about winning national championships. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday. 937-518-1410. That's the number that you can call or text into the conversation. We'll have an opportunity for you to win $1,000 coming up here around the corner. We got our winning word for you. Again, it's our spring payout. Be listening for the winning word each and every hour, Monday through Friday for the remainder of April. When you hear that winning word, you'll text it to 937-518-1410. Keep it locked in here. I'll have that winning word for you when we return. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. A chance to win $1,000 coming up next.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, mostly cloudy, 66 tonight. Slight chance of a thunderstorm, 84 tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms, 85 on Wednesday. Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by...
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now, online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Hey there, I'm Brad. I'm about to win the Tuesday Night Bowling League Championship. I'm also a highway worker for the Ohio Department of Transportation. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can bowl the winning strike with my buddies.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. Remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Hey, y'all. It's the Rocket Roger Clemens here. I spent years on the mound giving everything I had, and now I feel every inning in my knees, back, and shoulders. But I didn't want surgery, and I sure didn't want to be sidelined. That's why I turned to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Christie and his team use regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No surgery, no meds, and no downtime.
Whether you're teeing off at the club or chasing the grandkids around, QC Kinetics helps you get back to doing what you love.
Call QC Kinetics now and schedule your free consultation. Natural joint pain relief with real results.
Don't let the pain slow you down. I didn't, and neither should you. My friends at QC Kinetics, they'll take care of you.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Cordell Transportation is looking for more weekend warriors. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to make some extra money casually driving weekend daytime routes, then Cordell Transportation is looking for you. Home daily, all loads round trip, no touch freight, and competitive pay. Full-time routes could become available if you're interested. Drive weekends at Cordell Transportation. Apply at CordellTransportation.com or call Ron at 937-277-7271. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
Do you need legal help? We can help. Hi, this is Shannon Crabtree representing Mike Foley from the Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Office. Our mobile help center outreach team sets up at partner locations at designated times each month with informative self-help brochures that can assist you with some of life's most difficult legal and social issues. Check our website to see when we're in your neighborhood. That's courthouse2you.com. It's all part of Mike Foley's national award-winning Courthouse to You programming.
Oh, my house needs some help. It needs a new roof, new windows, and siding if I can afford it. I just don't know who to call. Your house is updated and looks so nice. Who does your work?
Buckeye Home Services does all my work. Their prices are affordable and they do a great job. Call 586-6600 for a free estimate. Buckeye does roofing, siding, gutters, leaf guards, windows, doors, patio covers, even kitchens and baths.
Sounds like they're the ones to call. What's that number again?
Buckeye Home Services, 586-6600.
It's ESPN Dayton's Spring Payout. We're giving away $1,000 every weekday for the rest of April. Keep it locked in here to 1410 ESPN Radio all day and be listening for winning keywords. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
The Justin Kinner Show here on a Monday. Welcome back. A chance to win $1,000. You just heard it every weekday from now through the end of April, starting at 8 a.m. We'll be giving out a winning word. And when you hear that winning word, you'll text it into the station hotline, 937-518-1410, 937-518-1410, the number to text that winning word into. And the winning word for this hour is deal. Let's make a deal, D-E-A-L. Text a deal to 937-518-1410, giving away $1,000 every weekday from now through the end of April. And of course, the more you listen, the more words you catch throughout the day, the more words that you text in and submit, the higher percentage chance, higher probability you have of potentially coming away with $1,000. So text DEAL, D-E-A-L, to 937-518-1410 for your chance to win $1,000. We got the spring game coming up this weekend. We are 1410 ESPN Radio, Dayton's radio home for Ohio State football. And the spring game coming up, all the spring practices wrapping up, and it's leading to the big showdown on Saturday in the spring game. No, we open up the show. Look, I never sit here and overhype the spring game or anything like that, but it is really cool. Any chance you have an opportunity to hear the booming voice of Paul Keels call a football game, and that's what you'll have on Saturday right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 11:45 pregame coverage will begin right up to the noon kick of the spring game. So keep in mind we have that for you coming up this weekend. We talked about it to open up. I don't really get into the spring game. There's a couple things I like about the concept of it. I mean, if you are, one of those that can't afford to go to a game during the season because those tickets are stupidly, highly priced, like it's expensive to go to a Buckeye game throughout the season, right? Like, especially if you have, you and your wife or you and your husband and your kids, like it's expensive to take the family to an Ohio State game. It's not expensive to take them to a spring game. So if you, an opportunity at a very, cost-friendly number to take, you and the family to an Ohio State game at the Shoe, and especially in the spring, you're coming out of the winter, you've been inside all, the whole winter, and now you get a chance to go watch a football game outside at the Shoe, and it's the Ohio State players, the coaching staff, all of that. And you can clip this, here's what I would like to see with the spring game. I want to see an involvement of the spring game. I would like it to kind of culminate more in a joint spring practice. I would like to see another team, you would risk, another team wanting Ohio State to go to their stadium, but you're the Ohio State, right? Like, and it doesn't even have to be a big branded, big name team, but what if it's Bowling Green? What if it's the Red Hawks? What if it's UC? I don't think UC would do it. Just like they're in the Big 12. They're a Power 4 school now, so I get it. But I would really like to see, instead of a spring game and a scrimmage between the Scarlet and Gray and all that, I would just like to see a joint spring practice. We'll bring in an opposing team and have yours guys against their guys, and you're probably getting a better feel for it anyways. I would just much rather, as a fan, see that. Just see something a little different. I mean, the results don't matter. The score doesn't matter. What you technically see doesn't matter. As I joked about earlier, I don't think that there has ever been in the history of spring games a true position, that has been figured out on that day. Man, I'm kind of back and forth on who's going to be the Wide receiver 1. Well, we all know that's Jeremiah Smith. Bad example. But I don't know who's going to be the quarterback. It's all going to come down to this spring game this weekend. Like, remember when they tried to overhype that spring game years and years ago with, Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins? Come on. Do we really think that Dwayne Haskins won the starting job because he outperformed Joe Burrow in the spring game? Stop it. So, like I said, I just would rather, if you're going to force us to watch a meaningless game where the biggest accomplishment of Saturday will be escaping it without any injuries, bring in another team, get another team's fan base to fill up the sheet. Probably get even more money that way. So that's kind of what I would like to see. But we do have that spring game coming up this Saturday, 11:45 the pregame, noon kickoff, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. As I stated, I think that Ryan Day finally gets it. I think that he ultimately, when it comes to what matters most as head coach of the Buckeyes, and I think that a lot of Ohio State fans, we all got exposed, recently because, when Ohio State was going through that stretch of not winning national championships and losing to Michigan every single year, 4 straight years of losing to that team up north, 4 straight years, or at least 3 straight years of not winning a national championship in that same stretch. A lot of people kept saying, I don't care what happens with Ryan Day. If he doesn't beat Michigan, I want him gone. And I'm like, what do you mean you want him gone? Like, what if he wins a national championship? I don't care. If he doesn't beat Michigan, I don't want him as the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm like, that's a little extreme. Now, if the reason I was starting to get on board with some people who didn't want Ryan Day is because outside of Ryan Day winning 90+% of the games that he's coached at Ohio State, you can make a good argument of, well, what has he technically accomplished? Every single season, multiple losses, every single season, not beating Michigan almost, every single season, not winning a Big Ten title, and then you cap it off by either not making the playoff or playing in a meaningless bowl game or getting knocked out early in the playoffs. Like, Ryan Day was making it difficult outside of the fact that, people kept from afar pointing out he's won 95% of his games, in the Big Ten. He doesn't lose in the Big Ten unless it's against that team up north. Like, he dominates the Big Ten. To me, at Ohio State, there are certain standards that I think that minimal standards that I don't think we should praise people. Beating up on a bad Big Ten conference every single year, to me, isn't something that I'm going to pat somebody on the back for. You are the Ohio State. You should beat up every year on the Purdue's, on the Rutgers. I used to say the Indianas, but my goodness, has college football changed in that regard. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, Ohio State, they win a lot of games in the Big Ten. I mean, Ryan Day wins a lot of games. Yeah, and so will the next coach of Ohio State, and so will the next coach. Like, there's a certain standard at Ohio State. The bare minimum is doing what Ryan Day was doing from that standpoint, but not winning Big Ten championships, missing the playoffs, not winning national championships, and then losing key bowl games. Losing to Missouri. I mean, that was such a tough spot to be in because you knew key players were going to opt out. And, if you opt out of a bowl game, you look scared. And then if you play in that bowl game without all your weapons, people aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And no one gave Ryan Day the benefit of the doubt, including me. They lost to Missouri and they were horrendous offensively that in that game. And it was just such a bad look. It's such a tough spot to be in. But that's why I think Ohio State's one of the toughest jobs in the country, because the expectations are so damn high, expectations that just weren't being met. So when Ryan Day would say goofy things like, I did this topic, just a real quick summary here. Years ago, Ryan Day was asked which losses keep you up at night. And he kept saying, oh, those losses to Michigan. And I'm like, oh, stop. Those losses hurt. They suck. But those losses against Michigan didn't prevent you from accomplishing anything outside of just winning that game. Decades and decades ago, if you don't beat Michigan, you have no chance at a Big Ten title. You have no chance at a national title. That is no longer the case. You are no longer in each other's way. You are a fun, big-time stage matchup, a humongous rivalry, the biggest rivalry in college football, no doubt, all of sports, no doubt. But winning or losing technically does not beating, Michigan doesn't guarantee you to win a national championship. Losing to Michigan doesn't keep you from winning a national championship, as we saw 2 years ago. So that frustrated me. But I've always stated before, I don't believe that Ryan Day truly positions the Michigan rivalry game the way he has to frame it with you. I think when you take the head coaching gig at Ohio State, they're going to tell you, listen, the only thing these fans care about is that rivalry game. So even if you don't truly believe it, you better say it anyways, because they have to believe it. Urban Meyer is one of those where I truly believe. Urban Meyer would lose sleep over that Michigan game if he lost even once, and he never did. 7-0. Urban Meyer, eat, breathe, sleep that Michigan rivalry. It was engraved in him. It was embedded in him. Like that wasn't fake. Urban Meyer was so genuine with that. It was believable. Every time I would hear Ryan Day say anything, oh, I hate Michigan, I hate that team up north, I'm like, it just sounded like a guy that was regurgitating talking points that were fed to him when he got the job. And I believe he hates Michigan. I believe that he doesn't like losing to Michigan. I believe that he does everything in his power to try to beat Michigan, but I don't believe him when he says, oh, I'm losing sleep over that. When you have losses like he does against Georgia, Clemson, and others, that in my opinion truly prevented him from winning national championships. Had they beat Clemson in 2019, I think they're a better team that year with Justin Fields and company than Tua Tagovailoa in Alabama. I believe Ohio State beats them the way Clemson beat them, and Clemson blew out Alabama in that title game, and I believe Ohio State would have done the same thing. And then let's not forget 3 years ago when Georgia knocked out Ohio State in that shootout. Ohio State could not get one stop down the stretch. They missed a field goal. The officials missed the targeting call on Harrison Jr., of course. And there were so many things that just, if you look at it, if one tiny thing goes right in that sequence of wrongs, Ohio State's beating up TCU in that national championship game, not Georgia. So to me, that should have been the loss that keeps Ryan Day up at night. And he refused to say that a year or 2 years ago. But it's funny how beating Michigan changes everything, because a recent interview, and I played it for you in the opening of the show, but I want to do it one more time. Ryan Day was asked about which losses keep him up at night. And finally, we no longer have to do this charade of, I don't care about national championships. All right. I don't care about anything else. I only care about the Ohio State. We can finally put that to rest, because Ryan Day is a national championship winning head coach. He's coming off of a season where he went undefeated in the regular season, and that undefeated regular season was capped off with a win against that team up north. So which losses keep Ryan Day up at night? He shared
the 19 Clemson game. Yep. That one, and then obviously the Peach Bowl against Georgia. Those two games to this day, you remember the losses, you know what I mean? The win kind of just come and go in their relief, but those losses haunt you. And, because I felt like both of those teams were good teams. And if we were able to, move on to the next game, we would have been playing LSU in Joe Burrow, which would have been just a monster game, which would have been great. And then the other year we've been playing TCU. So,
and all those points that I just mentioned, he kind of touched on that there. But that answer, the reason I bring that up is because he was asked that same question 2 years ago. And he said those, he never mentioned those. And I kept saying, I don't believe that. I don't believe that those are not the games that are at the top of his list. He said it was the Michigan losses. I don't believe him. I don't believe that those Michigan losses keep him up at night. I think that they start to keep him up at night as you get closer to the Michigan game, and you start to think about the day after the Michigan game, after a loss, just how, you feel like all the walls are shrinking in on you, I'm sure. But ultimately, beating, and this is how I always look at it too. There are things like, you can't say that matchup matters more than anything else, because if you can win another game that season, that makes you forget about that. You know what I mean? Like, then that's clearly not the biggest game on the schedule. When you miss out on a chance to win a national championship, there's not a single thing else you could accomplish that season to take that sting away. You lost to Michigan. Okay. But you could win a national championship, and that sting of losing to Michigan, it kind of fades away a bit. You forget about it because who cares? You won a national championship. But you can lose to Michigan or beat Michigan and lose out on a chance to win a national championship because of a bad game or a bad play or a bad single sequence of plays, and you're going to lose sleep for so long because you missed out on a chance to win a national championship. You're not going to say, yeah, well, we missed out on a chance to win a national title, but who cares because we beat Michigan in the final week of the regular season, and what? You get these tiny little gold pants that are cool, and I get the meaning of them, but like, listen, I do this every year at Indian Lake. Okay, they do this very cool charity event. In fact, coincidentally enough, I'm wearing their shirt today. The JR Memorial. Okay. And it's a kind of a branch of the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. And I look forward to this every year. You kind of get on a pontoon and you hop from bar to bar to bar. And there's just a lot of different, fundraising opportunities at each, stop along the lake. And it's just a really cool, fun day. You get the Buckeye alumni band out there. And if you're a Buckeye fan like I am and you are, we love this stuff, right? And you're drunk and you're at the lake and life doesn't get any better. So it's a really cool thing. But like they part, a lot of former Buckeyes come to this. Last year, I got a chance to work with Jim Tressel for the auction. So Jim Tressel was kind of help leading that. So I got a chance to kind of chat with him a bit. And, they have all these former Buckeyes there. But what ends up happening is there's a lot of memorabilia items that are donated from Buckeye players to auction off to help raise money for. You want to know what the number one thing that is constantly donated that players always seem to be comfortable parting ways with? The gold pants. Those gold pants. The gold pants that everyone just raves and hollers about. Those gold pants are constantly donated to these charity events to auction off for these things because the players could part ways with it. You know what players aren't parting ways with unless they're trying to, of course, get out of debt or pay off a bookie or pay off something, a national championship ring. That's how I know the national championship means way more than anything else. And finally, Ryan Day gets it. We no longer have to do this charade of, oh man, I don't, until I be, those losses to Michigan, I don't sleep all year. Oh, stop it. If you're losing sleep at night, it's because you missed out on an opportunity to win a national championship. And that's what happened in 2019 with that loss against Georgia, or with that loss against Clemson. And that's what happened just a few years ago in that Peach Bowl loss against Georgia. 2 opportunities that they would have most likely wanted. I'd bet my house on it that they beat TCU in the national championship game a couple years ago. Bet my house on it. And I'm pretty confident they beat Alabama in the national title game had they held on to beat Clemson late in that game. So there you go. I want to talk about the Reds when we come back. The Reds, let's see, it's mid-April, and the Reds already made a huge roster move. And it's not that surprising. Shouldn't be that surprising. It's frustrating, but the Reds optioned one of their star young players, or at least star young players that we thought coming into this season, and they made a major call-up. What that means for the Reds as they prepare for more games this week. We'll talk about that when we come back. Also, don't forget a chance to win $1,000. Get your phones out. We have 20 minutes left this hour. 20 minutes. Okay, you have 20 minutes to get this word texted in for a chance to win $1,000. Deal, D-E-A-L. Text DEAL to 937-518 for your chance to win $1,000. We're going to talk Reds when we come back. Brutal series over the weekend against the Angels. More next.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215-215. That's SPARK to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Are you interested in learning more about the world of digital marketing? Are you looking to grow your business online but don't know where to start? Join Conrex Digital on Tuesday, April 21st at 9 a.m. for a free quick 30-minute Digital and Donuts to learn more about the digital world. The Conrex digital experts will share tips, tricks, and tactics. So don't miss it. Digital and Donuts is Tuesday, April 21st at 9 a.m. at the Beaver Creek Chamber of Commerce, 3210 Beaverview Lane in Beaver Creek. It's free.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, commercial properties. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
KTH Parts Industries in St. Paris is now hiring and has increased the hourly wage of $22.48. That's right. KTH is looking for elite production associates, including press operators, overhead crane operators, and forklift operators. Apply today. KTH offers excellent benefits, including medical, dental, and 401k. KTH is a short drive from Bellefonte, Troy, Piqua, and Urbana. Upgrade your career and be valued by a company that really cares about you. Apply now at kth.net, an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, I'm Josie. My daughter turns 5 today. Blow out the candles. I'm also an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper. When you move over and slow down, you're not only giving me room to work, you're making sure I can get home to celebrate with my daughter.
Roadside workers have lives and families, but when they're on the job, they put it all on the line to protect and serve us. When you see flashing lights, remember, they're not just roadside workers. Thank you for moving over and slowing down.
Brought to you by ODOT, USDOT, NHTSA, and ODPS.
Hello, this is Michael, and I wish to welcome you to Dave Arbogast Buick GMC service, located at exit 69 on I-75 in Troy, Ohio. Please join us between April 1st and May 30th to save big during our buy 3, get 1 for $1 tire sale. New GM credit card holders may combine this offer to receive an additional $250 off on their first purchase over $500. Please visit us at davearbogast.com or call 937-980-0569 to speak with a certified service expert and schedule your appointment today.
If you need new roofing, siding or gutters, skylights or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. See Lance Roofing and Siding at their new location at 6903 Dayton Springfield Road in Enid. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722. Online at lanceroofing.com.
Here she comes.
Surprise! They sent a duplicate shipment to your flower shop. Now you have to pay for 1,000 extra carnations. Also, there's a beehive outside your store, and they're super aggressive. There's thousands of them.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise, saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, the egg salad you just ate was expired. Gross.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen for Pella Windows and Doors. Sometimes teams take a time out to regroup and call the right play. When it comes to your home, Pella Windows and Doors always has the winning game plan. They're not just window and door experts. They're experts at taking care of you and your home. At Pella, they find the products that meet your needs and their experts install them. They do it every day, and that's why your neighbors trust them. Discover why Pella is a trusted choice for homeowners everywhere. Visit Pella.com/Eisen today. That's Pella.com/Eisen.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Your reputation matters. That's why so many landscape professionals choose Gravely. Right now, during the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event, you can save up to 20% on Gravely commercial mowers. Built to perform day after day, so you can deliver the results your clients expect. Work hard, mow with Gravely. It's the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event, April 9th through the 19th. Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
The Reds have upset their fans. The Bengals and Browns are preparing for their top 10 draft picks. Ohio State is coming off a playoff season. Just another sports year in Ohio. Now back to 1410 ESPN Radio. Now back to the Justin Kinner Show right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 Wing AM, 937-518-1410. That is the number that you can call or text to be involved in the show. It's also the way that you could give yourself a chance to win $1,000. We have 11 minutes remaining here this hour, so make sure you get out your phones and text DEAL, DEAL, text DEAL to 937-518-1410 for your chance to win $1,000. You have 10 more minutes to get that word texted in for your chance to win $1,000. Again, giving away $1,000 every weekday from now through the end of April, all the way up through May 1st, technically. And all you got to do is be listening for those winning words that we give out throughout the day. Text DEAL, DEAL, to 937-518-1410 for your chance to win $1,000. All right, I want to talk Reds. And the thing that's interesting right now is, like I said this on Friday, this is exactly what the Reds did to us last year. All right. This is exactly what the Reds did to us last year, where, 1 week we feel like this team is going to be a for sure playoff team. And we feel like, man, this team's going to, really make some noise this year. And then there's going to be stretches like what we feel like right now. And it's like, yeah, this team's no good. They're bums. They're not bums and they're not bad, but this team, it's hard to say that they're good, right? Like, I don't know really what to make of this. I don't really know what to make of this Reds unit. I don't. So it was announced earlier today. The Reds' offensive woes just continue. And then it went nuclear over the weekend because the Reds, pitching had some off days, especially, you look at Andrew Abbott and you look at, of course, the guy I put the Kinner curse on and Chase Burns. Chase Burns, I was sitting there talking about, you had ESPN's Jeff Passan come out and say he had to give out his, bold predictions based on 2 weeks of regular season games to base it off of. His bold prediction was that Chase Burns was going to win the Cy Young out of the National League. And I said, we could be talking when Hunter Green comes back in July, we can be having a real conversation about, is Hunter Green coming back as the Reds' best pitcher, or would Chase Burns have, surpassed him? And I believe that still well could be the case, but it's ironic that the night that I break out that conversation and topic on the show, Chase Burns goes out and, of course, was not very good. The Reds give up 20-plus runs in that series, dropping 2 of the 3 games against the Angels. And the struggles for the Reds outfield and the struggles for Noelvi Marte continue, and he's the first major name that the Reds have made a decision on, and they've optioned Noelvi Marte to AAA Louisville, and this was announced earlier this afternoon. Noelvi Marte is just 4 for 29 to start the season with 0 extra base hits, and he has struck out in 10 of those 29 plate appearances. At the time, there was no corresponding move, but I think we all kind of anticipated that Rhys Hines is going to be the name that they end up calling up, and that's going to be a huge deal when that does happen, because Rhys Hines has just been lights out, at the AAA level. Like, the Reds have such a deep lineup, has such depth, or we believe it has depth, based on how these guys perform in AAA. And like, this is like the thing I always argue with people about. People are like, I can't believe that Noelvi Marte is, I can't believe that Rhys Hines is still in Louisville, not called up yet. Well, there was a point where we were all, as Reds fans, saying, I can't believe that Noelvi Marte is in Louisville and he's not called up yet. And right now, we feel like the front office has done a good job getting a Rhys Hines. Right now, we feel like the Reds front office has done a good job with a lot of the names that are in the AAA level right now. That's a deep lineup. Well, the names that are on the current Reds lineup right now, at one point, were also in the Reds AAA lineup. And at that time, we were making dumb comments about, man, I just don't understand how Matt McClain is not, in the lineup every day for the Reds. Man, I just don't understand how fill in the blank, right? Like, it's crazy. There's some people that were pissed that Will Benson wasn't on the roster for the majority of last season. So I bring this up because right now we feel real good about Reese Hines and we're excited to see him and get the opportunity. But, what if Reese Hines gets called up and doesn't do anything either? Just like, Noelvi Marte has been so inconsistent. Matt McClain has not been very good. There's just too many inconsistencies, and it's getting painful. It's painful to watch. The Reds are off tonight, but you can make an argument they were off over the weekend, dropping 2 or 3 against the Angels. I mean, right now you look across the board. TJ Friedel has struggled. We've talked a lot about his struggles early on. 59 plate appearances in 16 games, and he's 9 for 59. TJ Friedel he's hitting 153 to start. Right? You go down this list, and we've talked about the 35 at bats for Tyler Stevenson. He's hitting 171. He had a little bit of a burst of power 2 series ago, but then disappeared after that. In the Rangers series, he was big, but he hasn't been relevant since. I mean, Noelvi Marte, we talked about it. The 29 plate appearances, he has 4 hits in 29 appearances. Will Benson has 5 hits in 28 appearances. He's hitting 179. Dane Myers is hitting 300. 20 plate appearances, he's 6 of 20. Do you give him more at-bats? I don't know. Nathaniel Lowe, who was a sneaky good get in the offseason, he's 4 for 19. He's hitting 211 early on. Jose Trevino, I was a big fan. Jose Trevino played so well last year as a backup catcher that around the trade deadline, I was comfortable with bringing up the fact that, maybe the Reds should look to dangle Tyler Stevenson out there to see what they can get. But Tyler Stevenson has just been so below average for too long now that I don't think that he has the value that I would like him to have if the Reds were to explore that. And the reason I was comfortable with saying that they should do that with Tyler Stevenson is because of how well Jose Trevino played last year. They acquired him from the Yankees heading into last season. They gave him that 3-year, $16 million deal, and it was a good contract. I mean, he's a good defensive catcher, complimentary offensive bat at times. He definitely was last year. That has not been the case so far. I mean, he's 1 for 11, and he's at 11 at bats, and he's 1 for 11 in those at bats, and he's hitting below 100. So that's kind of where I'm at. The Reds are getting nothing from their catcher position. They're getting nothing from their outfield, and they're getting nothing from, obviously one guy that they just moved on from, not moved on from, but just, optioned him over, and that's Noelvi Marte. And then, of course, you look at the continuous struggles at third base from Ke'Bryan Hayes, who the Reds made a move for last year to go get a Gold Glove, arguably best defensive third baseman in baseball. But, there's a reason, years ago, the Reds had a big-time fan favorite in Billy Hamilton at center field. And Billy Hamilton was a big-time fan favorite. He was very good defensively in center field. He was exciting to watch until that bat got put in his hand. Billy Hamilton, I thought, was going to be a staple in Cincinnati for many years because of how much fans loved him, because of how exciting he was to watch when he got on base, because of how good he was, in center field defensively. But the guy was so bad offensively that it didn't matter how elite he was on the base paths. It didn't matter how good he was in center field. It didn't matter how much of a fan favorite he was. The Reds ultimately had to move on from him. And that's kind of where we're like, and I look at a guy like Ke'Bryan Hayes right now, who I think is a humongous anchor for this team, and not in a good way. He is a phenomenal defensive third baseman, but I don't think the fans connect with him. He doesn't connect his bat with the ball. And I just don't think he does enough to overcompensate for just how bad he is with the bat in his hand. Ke'Bryan Hayes, guys, he's hitting .079 on the season. He has 38 plate appearances. He is 3 for 38. 3 for 38. He has scored 1 run, and he has all but a total of 3 bases. He's drawn 3 walks. And the only thing that he does well is that offensively is he just doesn't strike out. The only thing that Ke'Bryan Hayes does well is he doesn't strike out. That's the only thing I can compliment him on offensively. He does not strike out. He's just an automatic out. And that's the frustrating. There's just so many players who are playing so poorly that we are not able to fully focus on some of the guys that are off to phenomenal starts. Guys like Sal Stewart, guys like Ellie De La Cruz. Man, what a weird weekend for the Cincinnati Reds in that series loss against the Angels. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. A lot of you like to beat up on Nick Krall, but I am curious as we head into hour number 2, what is the worst roster move that Nick Krall has made? Whether it be as general manager / president of baseball operations, we know he's the premier decision maker. What is the worst move that he has made since being the general manager or the president of baseball operations? Think about that during the break. 937-518-1410. More of the Justin Kinner Show next.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Take the next step forward in your career with Progressive Insurance. With great benefits and an award-winning workplace. Apply at careers.progressive.com.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older faster than you should. No takers? Yeah, didn't think so. Ongoing pain makes you feel older than you are. But here's the good news. QC Kinetic patients here in Dayton are getting relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed, and it didn't happen in an operating room. The QC Kinetic medical professionals use the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science, treatments that take the tiny, powerful healing tools inside your body, concentrate them right where you need relief. That's how Mike is training for a marathon instead of giving up running. Patrick's golf game is on fire again. Kathy walked around Disney with her grandkids. No pain. All real QC Kinetic patients. The sooner you start treatment, the sooner inflammation eases and the sooner joint damage slows down. Because no one signs up for feeling older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetic regenerative treatments. Your visit and consultation is free. 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325.
Right now at the Home Depot, shop Spring Black Friday savings and get up to 40% off, plus up to $500 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung. Get a fridge with 0 clearance hinges, so the doors open fully even in tighter spaces in your kitchen. And laundry that saves you time, like an all-in-one washer-dryer that can run a full load in just 68 minutes. Shop Spring Black Friday savings, plus get free delivery on appliance purchases of $998 or more at the Home Depot. Offer valid April 9th through April 29th. U.S. only. See store online for details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey folks, it's game day and the betting's gonna be intense, Drew.
You said it, Dave. But a good pregame routine keeps betting responsible.
That's right, you gotta pause before you play.
Good call. Sports betting is hot, but it can be risky.
And pausing to set limits is an all-star move.
That's right, Dave. If you bet on sports, pause before you play to set limits, recognize the risk, and know when to stop.
Learn more at pausebeforeyouplay.org.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast, mostly cloudy, 66 tonight. Slight chance of a thunderstorm, 84 tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms, 85 on Wednesday. I'm Rick Schremp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Is your old mower more of a lawn ornament than a lawn machine? Stop fighting the equipment and start enjoying the weekend. Get to East Lawn and Garden Center in Urbana, where they've got the heavy hitters ready to do the work for you, like the precision of steel, handheld power, the innovative strength of Cub Cadet, or the game-changing speed of an Alto Zero Turn. Bring in your old equipment today, and they'll give you top dollar for your trade-in. Get the best brands and the best trade-in value in town at East Lawn and Garden Center in Urbana, where the pros go to grow.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here it comes. Surprise! The people above your catering business are doing major construction, and the drilling is only during business hours. It's so loud.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money, getting personalized discounts on a commercial auto quote with Progressive.
Also, that isn't powdered sugar on the floor. It's plaster from your ceiling.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
The Justin Kenner Show, weekdays at 3 p.m., right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kenner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
937-518-1410. That's the number to call or text. Speaking of text, it's a new hour, which means another opportunity for you to win $1,000, or at least a new word for you to text in to win $1,000. The winning word for this hour, get out your phones and text MARK, M-A-R-K. Text MARK to 937-518-1410 for your chance to win $1,000. It's, of course, our ESPN Dayton Spring Payout every hour from 8 a.m. through 5 p.m. Of course, be listening for that winning word. And, of course, you'll text it to 937-518-1410. It's our ESPN Dayton Spring Payout. Every weekday from now to the end of April, be listening for those words. But the winning word for this hour, MARK, M-A-R-K. Text one more time. I know I'm overdue. I just want to make sure y'all get it. I want to make sure you take the opportunity to text it in and have a chance to win $1,000. I'm not allowed to win. To be honest, I have this argument with my bosses all the time. They work very hard to not give me money. So they come up with every excuse in the book to not give me money. But luckily, they don't treat you the way that they treat me. They want to give you money. So who am I to get in the way of you getting money nonetheless? So text MARK, M-A-R-K, 937-518-1410. All right. We welcome you back again. It is the Justin Kenner Show. The Reds are 9-7. They're second in the NL Central. And how about that? The NL Central standings just look kind of off. I mean, if you look at last year, I mean, you can kind of look at this. The NL Central standings, just as we sit here in mid-April, they almost look like they're flipped upside down. If I would have told you that the NL Central standings were the Cubs in first, the Brewers in second, the Cardinals in third, the Reds in fourth, and the Pirates in fifth, you'd say, yeah, that sounds right. But as we sit here today, they're flipped. The Pirates are in first, the Reds are in second, the Cardinals in third, the Brewers in fourth, and the Cubs are dead last. Now, to be fair, look, the NL Central, it's either a really bad division or a really good division. I don't know what to make of it. I do know this. It's a competitive division, and they may not be very competitive with a lot of teams outside of their division, but this is going to come down. Like the Reds didn't clinch a playoff spot until game 162, and on the day that they played game 162, they lost game 162 and still made the playoffs on game 162 because the Mets lost as well, and they backdoored their way into the postseason. I'm not predicting that the Reds backdoor their way into the postseason, but I do predict that whoever wins this division, whoever makes it out of this division and is dancing in October, sorry, I still have basketball in the mind, so I keep saying dancing, but whoever is still in the playoffs come October out of this division, I don't think we are going to know until the very end of September. It's going to be that tight of a race down the stretch. A 9-6 Pirates team is sitting at the top, while a 7-8 Cubs team is sitting at the bottom. 2 games separate the last place team and the top team. It's a competitive division, and it's it's going to be a season where even when the Reds have bad stretches of baseball, they're not going to be buried. And I feel like the Reds feel buried right now because of how poorly they played over the weekend against the Angels. Very frustrating with how they looked. When you have Chase Burns and Andrew Abbott on the mound in 2 of 3 games in every series, that's what I love about this Reds pitching staff. It is the depth that they have because, in my opinion, if all things are healthy, if all players are healthy, I'll pitch. So if Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green are pitching back to back, thing about Andrew Abbott and Chase Burns at times, and the Reds lost both those games. Brandon Williamson, who gave up 3 earned runs on 3 hits and only went 4 innings, gave up 93 pitch, had to go, threw 93 pitches in 4 innings. The Reds pick up a win on that day. That's because the Reds all of a sudden decided that they wanted to swing the bat. And let's say I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the Reds' 9 hitters that day decided they wanted to get a hit and participate offensively. That has not been the case for the majority of the season. The only Reds win in that 3-game series against the Angels at Great American Ballpark came on Saturday in a 7-3 win against the Angels. But again, a 10-2 Friday night loss and a 9-6 Sunday afternoon loss. I mean, to give up 19 runs in 3 games against the Angels when you're pitching is your benchmark, that's your identity. I mean, my goodness, just not a good day for the Reds, not a good series for the Reds, and that's coming off of they've lost 4 of their last 5. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games after winning 5 straight. The Reds won 3 straight, lost 2, won 5 straight. And they've lost 4 of their last 5 since. But they're still sitting second in the division. Got to give it, Pittsburgh, good for them. The Pirates doing their thing. They were one of those teams. The Pirates had a very sneaky good offseason, and very similar to the Reds. They have a very good farm system, and they've been quietly building a roster through their farm system. They just, like the Reds, refuse to invest into putting veteran pieces around it. At least that was the case until now. The Pirates are actually a pretty solid group. Are they going to sustain? Is this sustainable? Are they going to continue to play at this level? Are they going to continue to be sitting atop the NL Central? I doubt it. But, you go and you get an O'Neill Cruz, all right? You go and you get, Ryan O'Hearn, and you go and you get some of these pieces in the offseason. I'm sorry, not O'Neill Cruz. You had Marcelo Zuna. You get guys like that in the offseason to complement the young bats and to complement the young pitching that they have. And the Pirates are showing you what you can do if you just invest into it. And I'm not saying, hey, the Pirates are a great franchise. They're not. I mean, this is a franchise that I think had to be embarrassed over the last couple of years and mocked to the point to where they finally said, all right, screw it. We'll do something. But O'Neill Cruz already has 20 hits just by himself. O'Neill Cruz is dominating for the Pirates right now. He has 20 hits, hitting .339, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs. What a monster season for O'Neill Cruz as we sit here right now. And, you look at other guys like, Brian Reynolds. Their outfield, the Pirates outfield is crazy. 15 to 58. He's hitting 259, 15 to 58. He scored 11 runs. He has 8 RBIs, 25 total bases. He's walked 8 times. He finds a way to get on base. This Pirates team, they're kind of fun. I love this Pirates team. They're a lot of fun. They're what the Reds should be. They're more, I don't get it. I do get it. The Pirates, with their good pitching, invested into key veteran offensive bats to put in that lineup in the offseason, and the Reds didn't. And it's going to get really, really embarrassing if the Pirates do go on to get to the playoffs with all things being equal. I thought it was interesting in the offseason that the Reds were in on Mike Moustakas. Sorry, I have him in my notes for a segment I'm doing coming up for some of the worst moves that Nick Krall has made. I'll get to that shortly. But the Reds went heavy after Kyle Schwarber, right? The Pirates were in on Kyle Schwarber. The Pirates were in on Eugenio Suarez. The Pirates were willing to pay Eugenio Suarez more. The Pirates were willing to spend money this offseason. They were fishing in the same depth of waters that the Reds were, but they were willing to still be, to go add a Marcelo Zuna, to go out, to go and add the pieces that they did. I got to give the Pirates credit because a year ago, they were a joke across baseball as far as just the front office and everything. And although they still kind of are, to their credit, it almost works against it. Like they're proof that like even when they do try, it should embarrass you even when they try, because it's like, oh yeah, you're proving why everyone gets so pissed, because when you spend money and you add talent, you win games, or at least are in a position to win games. And the Reds just didn't do enough of that, at least as we sit here at the mid-April point. I do believe the Reds are better offensively than what they've been to this point. The problem is I said that 2 weeks ago. I said that last week, and it's Monday, and I'm probably going to say it again as this week goes on. At some point, I have to stop saying this team's better offensively than I think, and at some point, I might just have to realize that this team just isn't very good at all. And I hope that's not the case, because there are some Reds players who are off to a phenomenal start, and I don't think we are giving them the respect and credit that they deserve. One player in particular that I think is not a surprise at all is obviously, I mean, I shouldn't say not a surprise, but I guess a little bit of a surprise considering some of the doubts and question marks. How about Elly De La Cruz? Elly De La Cruz, we have labeled as a generational talent, but has for the last 2 seasons just kind of plateaued a bit. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't taken that next step to be that elite dominant player. Right now, Elly De La Cruz is on pace to do something that only one other player in the history of baseball has done, and that is Shohei Ohtani. He is on pace to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases. Shohei Ohtani is the only other player in the history of Major League Baseball to accomplish that feat, and Elly is well on his way to doing that. Elly has been so freaking good to start this season. Elly De La Cruz has his strikeout numbers have dropped significantly. I know he's tied for the team lead in strikeouts, him and Eugenio Suarez, but he also had 14 strikeouts. Okay. All right. He had 14 strikeouts very quickly right off the bat for the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, the Reds right now are 16 games in, 8 games in. He had 14 strikeouts. He's had 6 strikeouts since then. For whatever reason, all of a sudden it's all clicked for Elly, and those numbers are dropping. Those strikeout numbers are dropping. And now he's more disciplined at the plate. He's drawing walks. He's getting on base. He's stealing bases. And the power numbers. Elly De La Cruz led the Reds in home runs last year with 28 or whatever it was, 27 home runs last year. And I was like, well, you go get Eugenio Suarez. He won't be responsible for leading the team in home runs right now. I've been very underwhelmed by Suarez's power here in the early going, but to Suarez's credit, he's still hitting the ball. He's putting the ball in play. He's driving in runs. I'll talk more about him in a moment. But Elly De La Cruz, 64 plate appearances. He's 18 to 64. He's hitting 281. He has 3 doubles, 3 extra base hits on the season. He's scored 13 runs, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, 36 total bases, and he's drawn 8 walks. 5 stolen bases. He leads the team in that category as well. Elly De La Cruz doing absolutely everything. And this is what we expected of him last year and the year before that. And we're seeing him now look like the best player on the Reds. We've always known he's the best player on the Reds, but guys, there's been so many stretches where I'm like, he doesn't look like it though at times. We're talking way too much about what he needs to do to improve here and what he needs to do better over here. And right now, leading them in every major statistical category. I mean, it's been the Elly De La Cruz, Sal Stewart show. It's been the Elly De La Cruz, Sal Stewart show. And it's been pretty damn fun to watch here in the Yellow Going. I just mentioned Sal Stewart. Speaking of him, I mean, he has 17 hits and 55 at bats. He's hitting 309 on the season. He scored 10 runs himself. He has 4 extra base hits, 4 home runs right behind Elly De La Cruz, who has 5. Sal Stewart, the only Red outside of Elly De La Cruz to have double-digit RBIs with 10. He's at 33 total bases. He's drawn, and this is the most impressive thing about Sal Stewart, because Elly, although he's starting to show signs of being more disciplined at the plate, Elly, Sal Stewart, has been very disciplined, even for a rookie. He has drawn 13 walks this season. He has led of all the Reds hitters. No other Red has drawn more walks than he has. All right, 13 walks. He's stolen 3 bases, 10 RBIs, 17 hits, and 55 plate appearances in 16 games. He scored 10 runs himself. It's been all Sal Stewart and all Elly De La Cruz, and that's about it. That's about it. Eugenio Suarez, I am kind of curious some of your guys' thoughts. How are we feeling about the Suarez addition? I don't think he's been great. I don't think he's been bad, but I think the thing is Suarez is playing okay. He's hitting 224. I don't love that. but he's drawn 6 walks. He has 8 RBIs. He has multiple home runs. He has an extra base hit. He's 13 of 58. He scored 5 runs himself. Like, he's been okay. But that's not why he was brought. He wasn't brought over here to be okay. He wasn't brought over here to honestly get base hits. He was brought here for one reason and one reason only, and that was to hit home runs. And, you know, he's third on the team right now, or he's tied with 2 other Reds with 2 home runs. Tyler Stevenson, who has 2 home runs, both of those home runs coming in that Ranger series. Spencer Steer with 2 home runs as well. And then there's Suarez with 2. And then the other 2 guys, obviously, we talked about Ellie's 5 and Sal Stewart's 4. But are we concerned about the start power-wise for Eugenio Suarez? I'm curious your guys' thoughts. 937-518-1410. That's the number to jump in on the conversation. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Eugenio Suarez, I know it's mid-April. It's still early. But we've seen Suarez play in 16 games. The power numbers just aren't there. He's finding ways to get on base. He's drawn walks. He's getting extra, he has some extra base hits. He's putting the ball in play. He's driving in runs. But I don't care about all that. I need him to knock the ball to the ballpark. That's why he was brought to Cincinnati. This team is woeful offensively. And what you can't afford is to have woeful stretches from your star guys. And that's what the Reds are getting with Eugenio Suarez, unfortunately. But Ellie's been great. Sal Stewart's been great. And it's been a whole lot of not so great from everybody else. Are you concerned yet about Eugenio Suarez? 16 games in. 937-518-1410. We'll be right back.
Smalls here. What if you could enjoy the flavor of a cocktail without the alcohol? Meet RK Zero Proof, a pioneer in the alcohol-free spirits category that delivers bold taste and a warming sensation, but with 0 alcohol, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and 0 calories. So you can celebrate with friends, unwind after a long day, and wake up tomorrow feeling great. It's all the ritual of a drink without the regret. Discover RK at rkbeverages.com. That's ARKAY beverages.com. RK, the spirit without the alcohol.
And the series, those 2 cities, and the way the Hawks been.
And now a list of things from Progressive Insurance. Home, auto, boat, motorcycle, RV, ATV. Progressive protects them all. Learn more about bundling at progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Upgrade to a new quality bath remodel in less time with minimal inconvenience and for less money with Bath Creations in as little as 2 days. We do it right. There are a lot of others boasting about bath remodels these days. Well, Bath Creations' expert craftsmanship and customer service speaks for itself. Plus, all first responders, veterans, and active military will save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit our beautiful showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or at mybathcreations.com and upgrade your new bath today.
Save big money on everything at Menards. Brighten up your garage or workspace with a 6,000 lumen 3-panel LED light from GT Light. It's over 7 times brighter than traditional incandescent light bulbs and features 3 adjustable panels, allowing you to shine light where you need it most. Save big on GT Light LED utility bulbs. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Join us for a special night out at the 10th Annual Craft Beer and Wine Tasting, hosted by the Community Foundation of Miami Township, Friday, April 24th at 6:30 p.m. inside the VIP suite at Poping Lane South. Enjoy your choice of craft beer, wine, or bourbon samples, plus delicious appetizers, bowling, and a chance auction featuring local favorites. All proceeds support community programs and scholarships right here in Miami Township. Get your tickets today and be part of something meaningful. Find out more at cfmt.info. Get ready to save big during the Hustler Spring Sales Event from April 15th through May 31st. Save up to $350 off the Raptor Series and up to $550 off the Fast Track Series Zero Turn Mowers at participating Hustler dealers. Engineered and tested for long-lasting performance, Hustler mowers are designed to keep you mowing season after season. Visit Small Engine Service Pros on Route 235 in New Carlisle and shop the Hustler Spring Sales Event today. Offer valid April 15th through May 31st, 2026, or while quantities last. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Are you interested in learning more about the world of digital marketing? Are you looking to grow your business online, but don't know where to start? Join Conrex Digital on Tuesday, April 21st at 9 a.m. for a free quick 30-minute Digital and Donuts to learn more about the digital world. The Conrex digital experts will share tips, tricks, and tactics. So don't miss it. Digital and Donuts is Tuesday, April 21st at 9 a.m. at the Beaver Creek Chamber of Commerce, 3210 Beaverview Lane in Beaver Creek. It's free.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 2689 Commons, Dayton.
1410 Wing AM, Dayton's ESPN Radio, powered by Gem City Water. We're a local veteran-owned company that offers affordable reverse osmosis systems and installs them for free. Our water is tastier, healthier, and eco-friendlier. Visit gemcitywater.com for more info.
Describing the delicious flavor of Lee's new famous wrap is tough, but we figured we'd give it a shot.
Imagine crispy, golden, fried to perfection chicken, drizzled with bold, peppery, beautifully balanced famous sauce, resting on a plush bed of succulent lettuce and sprinkled with cheese. It's like ordering delicious with a side of exquisite.
In other words, it's awesome. The famous wrap with new famous sauce. Only at Lee's. Famous for a reason.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Are you interested in learning more about the world of digital marketing? Are you looking to grow your business online, but don't know where to start? Join Conrex Digital on Tuesday, April 21st at 9 a.m. for a free quick 30-minute Digital and Donuts to learn more about the digital world. The Conrex digital experts will share tips, tricks, and tactics. So don't miss it. Digital and Donuts is Tuesday, April 21st at 9 a.m. at the Beaver Creek Chamber of Commerce, 3210 Beaverview Lane in Beaver Creek. It's free.
Revive your ride at summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 3rd, 2026.
We're giving away $1,000 every weekday for the rest of April. It's our spring payout right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. A chance to win $1,000 every hour, every weekday from now to the end of April. It's our ESPN Dayton spring payout. Winning word for this hour, Mark, M-A-R-K. You have about 34 minutes remaining to get this word texted into the station. 937-518-1410. Text Mark, 937-518-1410 for your chance to win $1,000. Take advantage of that opportunity. Again, starting at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday from now to the end of April. Of course, I'll be listening for that winning word. When you hear that winning word, you will text that to 937-518-1410. So text Mark, M-A-R-K, 937-518-1410. Yes, I am just trying to hammer that number into your head. 937-518-1410. Do it now. Text Mark, M-A-R-K. No Reds baseball tonight. The Reds will be back at it tomorrow as they kick off a 3-game series with the Giants at home. Ryan, the Reds are still kind of licking their wounds a little bit coming off of that Angels series after dropping 2 of 3. The pitching wasn't great. You had, of course, great pitchers on the mound. Andrew Abbott got lit up. Chase Burns got lit up. Even Williamson, who wasn't great, a great starter for the Reds, he got lit up as well. But they won. He threw 93 pitches through 4 innings, gave up 3 earned runs on 5 hits, and the Reds found a way because they, their bats, were alive. Found a way, to get it done. Brandon Williamson on that night. But outside of that, we know how great Chase Burns, Andrew Abbott, Rhett Lauder have been in the absence of Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. We know the Reds will not get Hunter Green back until mid-July. What will the Reds look like come mid-July? So I threw this question out earlier on the show because, I am a Nick Krall defender. I think that Nick Krall has done way more good than bad. And a lot of you want to paint it to Nick Krall being very, very bad at his job, whether it was as GM or president of baseball operations. Brad Meter is the general manager for the Reds, but overall, Nick Krall was making the decisions on moves as the general manager, and he's still, in my opinion, making those moves as the, president of baseball operations. It reminds me, when Nick Krall first joined the Reds, it was kind of the same when he was under Dick Williams. Like Nick Krall was the, Dick Williams was the GM and then, advanced up to the president of baseball operations. In came Nick Krall. We never talked about Nick Krall as the GM because Dick Williams was making all the moves. And then, of course, Dick Williams moves on, and then it's been on Nick Krall. Brad Meter comes in. It's still on Nick Krall. But the Reds have made some interesting moves for years now. They've made some interesting moves for years now, and I'm not as critical of those moves as a lot of people. Like here's an interesting one, and we've talked about this on the show before. Was Mike Moustakas a bad move to make by Nick Krall? Did Nick Krall make a bad decision bringing Mike Moustakas to Cincinnati? You ready for my answer? No. It was not a bad decision to bring Mike Moustakas to Cincinnati. All right. And a lot of you base it off of the result of what happened, and it's a results-based business, and I get it. But Mike Moustakas was one of the top free agents available that season, and the Reds were aggressive and landed him. If a handful of teams who really needed a power bat, a power hitting middle infielder, there was a lot of teams that needed that, and a lot of teams were lining up to get him, and the Reds came out on top, giving him about $15 million a year for a handful of years. It was a good move. A lot of teams who needed a power bat in the middle infield, who needed help offensively, a lot of teams were lining up to get him. The Cardinals were lining up to get. There's a lot of teams who were lining up to get the former Brewer. Okay, a lot of teams were after him. The Reds landed him. At that time, based on need and the production that he had up to that point, it made all the sense in the world. It didn't work out. It doesn't mean that it was a mistake by Nick Krall or that it was a reflection of his inability to do the job. Sometimes you can make a decision that with good intent and with good information, and it still doesn't work out. And that, to me, is Mike Moustakas. And I bring that up because so many people criticize Nick Krall, and I'm like, I don't think he's made what move has he made that is just worthy of being ripped for? I can't think of one, or I couldn't think of one up until recently. The only move that I think that the Reds have made a massive mistake on, Nick Krall specifically, is this Ke'Bryan Hayes deal. All right? Ke'Bryan Hayes, the Reds' third baseman, who has been atrocious this season offensively. And the reason I can't forgive Nick Krall and the Reds for this move is because that was the scouting report on Ke'Bryan Hayes. It's not as if the Reds traded for a Gold Glove third baseman who was really good offensively and has just disappeared offensively since arriving to Cincinnati. The one reason that the Pirates were willing to move on from Ke'Bryan Hayes is because he was an automatic out. I mean, the Reds might as well just say, hey, we're not going to allow Ke'Bryan Hayes to bat. We're going to allow Nick Lodolo to bat. Rhett Lauder, when he's pitching, we trust Rhett Lauder with the bat in his hand more than we trust Ke'Bryan Hayes. Pitchers don't hit anymore. We still trust our pitcher more. Ke'Bryan Hayes is an automatic out in this lineup, And this team is not good enough to have any automatic outs. The Dodgers could not afford to have an automatic out in their lineup, and they're the Dodgers, and they have power and talent all up and down that lineup. The Reds don't and can't afford it. Ke'Bryan Hayes is a perfect addition for a deep team, a deep roster, because he has a specific role with the team with the deep roster. When you have a deep roster that has so many weapons that contribute in so many different ways, you could overcome his offensive deficiencies. But when you are the Reds, I work in radio right now. Radio has changed so much. 15, 20 years ago, I think it's less than that now, but I'd say 10, 15 years ago, you were hired to be an on-air host. You were hired to be, to work mornings, to have the morning show, the afternoon show. You were hired as a promotions director. You were hired as, to work in sales. You were hired as just a program director. Right now in radio, you are a program director / sales / host / promotions / anything we need you to do. And if you can't do those things, you don't have value in today's radio. If you are just a show host, you're not valuable in today's world of radio unless we're talking like the big markets, right? That's just the reality of it. And people who have big egos in this business now that work at a market like this think that their only job is to be a host, when that's not the case. Like if your only value is to host a show, you're not valuable in today's climate in this market size radio. And that's the Cincinnati Reds to me. If Ke'Bryan Hayes, Gold Glove, phenomenal defensive third baseman. But the Reds can't afford that. That's why Matt McClain, he could play third, he could play short, he could play second, he could play multiple positions. All right, Eugenio Suarez is a power-hitting DH, but could also play at third base. Sal Stewart over the weekend, we found out, Sal Stewart, as good as he has been at first base, the bottom line is and Terry Francona came out and said that his actual natural position, the best position the position that is best for him and that he's the best at, is actually at second base. And talking about Sal Stewart. I mean, look how great he is at first base, and yet you have Terry Francona saying he's an even better second baseman. Matt McClain's solid at second, but he can play short, he can play third. All right, Ellie's at short. I don't think he can play short very well, but he's been phenomenal this season, so I'll walk back my criticisms of him there for the time being. Spencer Steer nearly won a Gold Glove at first base, and he's an outfielder. In today's small market baseball climate, you are not just a first baseman. You are not just a third baseman. You are not just an outfielder. You have to be the best utility guy you could possibly be to be able to survive and contribute in today's small market baseball lifestyle. And that's the problem with Ke'Bryan Hayes. If Ke'Bryan Hayes goes to the Yankees or goes to a team with a deep roster and they have a handful of guys that can provide you power, a handful of guys that can provide you with extra base hits and high on base percentages, and they could, versatility up and down the lineup. Ke'Bryan Hayes can go to that team and be, hey, my role here is to be a Gold Glove defensive third baseman for you. The rest of you figure it out. That works in a bigger market. It's not ideal. The Dodgers wouldn't be in love with it, but he can work in LA. He can work in New York. He doesn't work in Cincinnati. Nick Krall, I've been a fan of pretty much. There's not been a lot of moves that he's made that I'm like adamantly against. You guys wanted to run the Reds out of town because they got rid of Jesse Winker years ago because, oh man, him and Nick Castellanos were represented the Reds. They were both starters in the All-Star game representing Cincinnati. And how could you get rid of Jesse Winker? Nick Krall was smart on that. Jesse Winker had one of his best stretches in the history of his career in April, May, and June, and it led to him being named a starter in the outfield. And Nick Krall noticed that in the final 3-4 weeks that he was horrible, but he had put in such a strong body of work to start. And then you look at how poor that Jesse Winker was coming out of the All-Star game as well. Jesse Winker never returned. We've never seen Jesse Winker look like he did that season. Nick Krall got out while the going was good. It was a smart move. I can't think of, is there one player, and I'm probably going to get bit in the ass for this. Is there one player that Nick Krall has moved on from that you're kicking yourself over? Can't believe we moved on from him. I can't think of one. Castellanos was one that I wasn't a fan of the Reds moving on from, but it felt like we were embarking on a long rebuild, so it didn't make sense. So I understood it. I didn't like it, but I understood it. There's a justification for pretty much every move that Nick Krall makes. The one move I can't forgive him on is this Ke'Bryan Hayes deal. he doesn't fit what the Reds are looking for. What the Reds need are a lot of guys who can be versatile, who could play multiple positions, hit at multiple spots in that lineup, and my gosh, just hit. And to, Brian Hayes to sit there and justify it and say that's who we were looking for, Gold Glove third base. Yes, but you have so many needs, and you need guys that could check off multiple needs, right? He's a problem. Brian Hayes is a problem. 3 hits, 16, 17 games of the season. He is a problem. He is a big-time problem. And at the end of the day, I sit here right now, and I think that the worst move that Nick Krall has made since being in charge of these big decisions for roster construction for the Reds, it's Brian Hayes. I don't care. I mean, I used to think I've changed my mind on that, because at first I'm like, my God, he's so good defensively. The defense just looks different with him out there, and it does. But as good as he is defensively, he is that bad offensively, and this team is just not good enough to overcome that automatic out in the lineup. The National League, all right, now has a designated hitter. For centuries, that was just unheard of. And you finally get it to where you don't have an automatic out in that 9th spot. And I think he's actually worse than any of the pitchers you could have thrown out there on a nightly basis. I think Nick Krall's done a phenomenal job in Cincinnati, based on everything that's been given, based on the limited resources that have been given to him. I think he's done a phenomenal job. But the bottom line is, this one, I don't blame on the Castellinis. I don't blame on anyone except Nick Krall. I think this was a mistake. Brian Hayes is a mistake, and the Reds are married to him for a while. They're married to him for a while, and that's the concern, that I have as far as that's concerned. The Reds again traded for him back in July of 25. The Pirates received Taylor Rogers, a left-handed pitcher reliever who the Reds picked up in free agency in the offseason before. Steffer, the shortstop prospect, of course, cash considerations. I guess the only silver lining is the Reds didn't give anything up of significance for him. All right. They didn't give up anything for him. I mean, they did have a top 10. I mean, the prospect Steffer is pretty dang solid, but I mean, we won't know until he actually comes through. Right. But the Reds did get an elite Gold Glove defensive third baseman, but man, he can't hit, not even close. But it's an 8-year, $70 million contract. They have him for the rest of this decade. Basically, he's making about $7 million per year, $8 million per year. Could the Reds move on from him? Possibly. And that's the thing, too. Like, I don't even think he needs to be great offensively. He doesn't need to lead the team in any major statistical offensive category. But he does lead this team in a lot of major statistical categories. He leads them in being the worst hitter. And you just can't have that for an everyday player like Brian Hayes. It's 4:40 here in the Miami Valley. I'm Justin Kinner. Make sure you text Mark, M-A-R-K. Don't text your friend Mark. I mean, text the name Mark to 937-518-1410. Text Mark, M-A-R-K, to 937-518-1410. It's our ESPN Dayton Spring Payout. We're giving away $1,000 every weekday from now through the end of April, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're giving out that winning word. Be listening for it each and every day, all day. And when you hear that word, give us a text, 937-518-1410. Text Mark. All right, good stuff. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. Earlier today on the show, we talked about Ryan Day, and he finally gets it. We're going to talk some Buckeyes college football spring game. When we come back, more of the Justin Kinner Show next.
A is for ABS, B is for BCM, C is for CBT, D